welcome everyone. My name is Danny Seo. I am the editor-in-chief of this magazine called Naturally Danny Seo. It's also used to be a TV show also on NBC, and I'm also now on a daytime TV talk show called The Drew Barrymore Show, where I work with Drew and teach. Okay, we love Drew. Got it. Where I teach about wellness and everything. But what I'm really excited about is that we get to bring today a feature story I did in this issue, what I consider something that I consider a huge job perk. So in my life, I love meeting founders of impressive companies and sort of telling their story from start to finish. So other people that I've had a chance to spend time with and really tell their story included makeup maven Bobby Brown, who is fabulous, by the way, and an editor now with the magazine. Bob Moore, who started Bob's Red Mill, and spent the day with him. True story, he was on my TV show. He was, I believe, nearing 90 years old.
Oh, wow.
And they had a golf cart at the factory where we were learning how to grain mills and everything. And I go, oh, wow, Bob, you have your own golf cart. And he goes, that's for you. And I go, that's hilarious. And then I look at my producer, she goes, no, it is. You get really sweaty. And I was like, well, that's great. But also with Catherine Hunziker. Am I saying that right? Mm-hmm. Am I really? Hunziker.
Well, different people say it different ways, but our family says Hunziker.
Hunziker. I know, I kept adding a G, in it.
Hunziker.
Anyway, I love it. Who is the founder of WishGarden Herbs. And what I love about Catherine, woman-owned, family-run, still family-run since 1979. There's Anna right there, daughter extraordinaire. But also, they are now America's #1 leading herbal blends brand. And that's a huge deal because it's something where if you think about the roots, especially in the health and wellness industry, what I love about companies like this, it was never founded with a business plan. It was never about profits. It was really about truly helping other people. And today, even though they're wildly successful, no pun intended, they really continue with that spirit and that belief in trying to help people and whatever ails you and to have you a healthier, better life. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet the one and only Catherine Hunziker.
Thank you, Danny.
So we are going to talk about herbal remedies. We are going to talk about your gift bag that you're going to get after, and we'll talk about what you're getting in there. But I think before we talk about herbs, Catherine, gift bag? Did people get excited? It's a good gift bag and something you can use during this week. Fabulous. I want to talk about sort of like your history first and foremost before we get into your wealth of knowledge. She's like Google when it comes to this kind of stuff. Tell me about your activism roots, because you started off really as an activist, right?
Yeah.
Radical activist. Radical for the days. We both started off as environmental activists, but today what we did in the past is now considered very normal to do that. So tell me a little about your activism.
Well, I was a hippie. I was an old hippie. When I went to college, I went into the student union and there were hippies. And I go, okay. And I really, that cultural revolution, we're natural. We care about this. We need to, all the different sides of that cultural revolution. And then there was the civil rights movement and the women's liberation movement. And during that time, I realized that I really wanted to be part of the answer to help move things forward to the next sustainable wellness future, so to speak. And I think what you would like me to talk about...
I want to talk about your house arrest. How did you get to that?
As part of that, and this was in the 80s.
Wildly publicized too, right?
Nagasaki Day, 1987. I think that's August 9th or something like that. Was part of a protest with the Rocky Mountain Peace and Justice Center in Boulder, Colorado. We had Rocky Flats going. Rocky Flats is along the highway, along the Front Range. I don't know how many of you know how the Front Range, how Colorado is, but there was this big governmental installation that was making plutonium triggers for atomic bombs. That's what they did. And as part of it, they were sprinkling plutonium downwind and had been for years.
And things were dying, right?
People were getting cancer, animals were mutating and things like that. And there were no laws in Jefferson County or the state that allowed us to address this environmental, I don't even know what adjective to use.
Disaster.
Yeah. I mean, it was not flaring, it was happening over time as it built up and just blowing downwind and towards Denver.
So why you? Why did this judge, I know that I love this story, why did this judge target you?
So we blocked all the gates to Rocky Flats as part of this for 4 hours on one day. And I think there were 460 people that got arrested and bussed off to the Jefferson County Jail that night. We spent the night in jail, which is also a revelation. Made me glad we were in the US, at least. And everybody was charged with a misdemeanor of blocking a highway and disobeying, ironically, a peace officer. And then, not too long after, people started going to court, on those charges. And it just so happened, I had just been doing WishGarden, and as was sort of at the beginning of WishGarden, I bought it in 1987. Earlier in the spring, it was a closet in a hallway, and there's a story about that we might get
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
And so I wasn't available. I was doing an herb walk during that time when people were doing that down in...
The judge didn't like that.
Down in New Mexico, in northern New Mexico, with Michael Moore, who was a pioneer.
Oh my gosh.
Now, it sounds like it's the movie guy, and they are very similar in a lot of ways, but Michael Moore in the herbal world was an herbal pioneer that helped bring herbs back, because they'd been missing 50, 60 years. They got pushed out.
So did you miss your court date?
So I was not... there were maybe 10 other people that weren't available, and so we got pushed out to a later time. So all the people that went through that to begin with got sentenced to 10 hours of community service and $100 fine.
And you?
And it so happened that I was the first one of the 10 that went in later. And I'm sitting there in the courtroom, and this person from the judge's office said, "You need to come talk to the judge. He wants to talk to you in his office before this starts." And I go in there, and I'm like 40 some years old. My daughter Anna's like 7. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like this. And he goes, "You seem like a nice lady. I sure would hate to see a nice lady like you go to jail." And I'm going, whoa, I can't believe a judge is talking to me like this. But then he said, and he basically gave me 10 minutes. Basically, he wanted me to just say I was guilty and go plead out or whatever you call it. And I go out there and I go, all right, this is really scary, but what are we talking about here? We're talking about sprinkling plutonium. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna do it.
But here's the thing. Okay. I do want to get to the herbs. And we've had a long
faster.
day. Yeah, so you ended up getting 6 months of house arrest, made tons of news, and not to interrupt you, but the one thing that I love is that you started with very strong activism roots about protecting the planet, about sustainability, and that's one of the sort of the beginnings of starting a company like this was really about trying to help other people too.
Yeah, it was about contributing in some way to a sustainable, healthy future.
Yeah, this is what I admire about you so much, because you continue to believe all of that now, and you continue to be a mother who doesn't bake cookies.
Well, that's actually me on one of her herb trips, and I was the babysitter.
But it's all good. So let's talk about your midwife journey. So you are a trained midwife. So
I need to say one thing.
okay, please.
Okay, so here I am under house arrest. Like, oh my God. But it went back to court because the news agencies heard about it and this and that. So it went back to court and it was jammed with all sorts of news people from Denver and a lot of people interested in, and the judge, he thought he was the hero. He thought he was the good guy. And he suddenly realized that was not the case.
Gave you a huge platform to even make the issue bigger, didn't it?
Yeah. And so it ended up, and it wasn't too much longer after that when the FBI and another section of the government went on to Rocky Flats and shut it down.
It's a good thing. I love you. I love you so much. I wish you were my mom, but you know.
Well, in some cultures, you know. I probably should.
There's no tincture for that. So, okay, let's talk about you as a midwife, because obviously this is sort of the start of you realizing the power of herbal remedies and coming up with these tinctures and things. So how did that shape your way to help women or mothers?
Well, as an activist and, you know, women's rights, there was a whole liberation thing that was happening in there too. And I was having babies and children, and I got interested in the midwifery movement, which evolved out of that. And I was trained as a midwife at the Emma Goldman Clinic in Iowa City, where I went to school at the University of Iowa. And I'm trying to think how to make the long story short.
No.
And so that was where I was going, and I got interested in medicinal herbs during the Back to the Land movement in the Ozarks, and there's a story about that, but then moved back to Boulder, which was one of the hot spots for the midwifery movement. And what the deal was is that midwives then were just coming back, and they weren't illegal, they weren't legal, they'd been gone, just like the herbs and everything else, for 50, 60 years. And they were coming back, but one thing they could not do is carry pharmaceuticals, because then you would be practicing medicine without a license, which was a state level thing. Different states have different rules about that. And I actually was not the very first one. I bought it from a woman named Barbara Wishengrad. She was a midwife, and she started making herbal combinations.
Oh, WishGarden, Wishengrad.
Yeah.
Got it now.
Apparently is Austrian. And she was making formulas for the childbearing time, for midwifery. And there are a handful of those that are still with us. I bought it. She wanted to move to Mexico. That's a whole other story.
But you bought a closet.
I bought it from her in 1987. It was a closet in a hallway. I borrowed some money from my mom, and then she let me pay her the rest. Can I say how much I paid for it?
No.
All right.
Yes.
$11,000. That's how much it made in a year. Yeah. But it turns out that I had a talent for it, you know, diving into herbs on that level.
What did you tell me the other day about how the human being body is rooted in herbs, right?
Okay, so sort of jumping forward, I've spent a lot of my time going around the country doing trainings for vitamin department staff and here and there and doing this and that. And so it has led me to figure out how to talk about it. And let's use the word paleo medicine. People know the paleo diet. They have some idea of, okay, that has to do with what we evolved from, what we have eaten, you know.
And that's like the caveman,
Yeah,
cavewoman.
go way back. And so think of the thing about herbs, particularly whole herbs, and I want to say something about that as well. Whole herbs have been our medicine as human beings, all of us, everywhere, for 99.9999999% of our time on this planet. Our bodies recognize these natural molecules. They know what to do with them. We evolved with these plants. You have plants as food, and people in natural foods, they know that eating good food, plants for food over time, creates better tissues. It makes you healthier. Plants as medicine are doing the same thing, but on another level of functionality. The organs, making things work better, helping the body work better, not just adding something. And I could go on about that. And I'm particularly whole herbs, because there's so many sides and aspects to a plant. You can have 100 different constituents. And the beauty, okay, is it okay if I keep going?
Yeah.
I'm not known for my brevity. Side relating, one of the benefits of tinctures is that you get both the water-soluble and the non-water-soluble constituents from the plant. You get the whole array of it, and it is in solution already, so you don't have to digest it. And so the body goes in and picks out what it wants and needs. I mean, I can't tell you.
The key thing is what it needs at the moment, right?
Yeah, it knows what it wants. It recognizes what it needs. Obviously, the herbs and the various constituent groups and this and that have functionality that we can chart and describe with physiology and science and investigation and all that. But also, we've been using these for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
And there's recognized traditions and uses over the times. And the beauty of whole plant medicine is that it has different sides to it, just like people. Okay, I'm sitting here as an herbalist, but I love to dance, and I like to go to book clubs. And so different herbs do different things depending on what's needed and what's going on. And so what's different, okay, let's say there's whole herb medicine, and maybe it's the roots, maybe it's the leaves, but essentially your job is just to take what the plant has to provide itself. You're not trying to improve upon it. You take it and put it together so it can do what it can do, if that makes sense. And I could even talk about putting together in teams. You have whole herb medicines or whole herbs. Then you have phytopharmaceuticals, where you can take a particular natural molecule that the body would recognize and put it together like a pharmaceutical. It's a single constituent that you're concentrating. And that, it has a role to play. It can do that. And then you have pharmaceuticals, which are one constituent, one molecule, but it's not natural. It's been constructed. Whole plant, where you've got everything the plant has to offer, natural molecules, concentrated natural constituents, one that works more like a pharmaceutical, but it is natural. And pharmaceuticals, standard practice medicine came out of Greek battlefield medicine. It was about saving lives. All of these have a role to play, but what's been missing more than anything else is what whole plants have to bring. And
you're right, it's no different than diet. So
yeah,
we've learned to eat whole ingredients, but like synthetic food is going to nourish the body the same way.
People did not know that herbs could be 5 minutes full symptom relief if you know how to take them.
Well, let's talk about that. What can you say that actually is a fast-acting herbal product? Is it in the gift bag?
Well, Sleepy Nights is one, Serious Relaxer, probably, and this is now nationally the best-selling allergy formula, Kick-Ass Allergy. Kick-ass.
Wait,
And there's a whole
let's talk about allergy. Why is that a fast-acting one? Tell us about that one.
because this gets back to formulating.
It's okay.
What is the physiology? What are you working with, and what are the different aspects of it? We were having a conversation about hormones and menopause and things over dinner. And there's lots of different physiology that goes on. And so you can put together a team, and what you're referring to, you put together different herbs that relate to the big
You can do the
picture.
football analogy if you want to.
Okay. And
Because I get it now.
And actually it was a basketball. Like you have the center, you've got the defining herb, the chief herb.
But you're talking about basketball.
And then you have the forwards and you have the guards, and they're all doing this and boom. So put them together.
Oh my God. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
I'm like, how gay am I?
Well, to tell you the truth, actually, that was a good metaphor because there was about the same number of people you put together to do that. But also, to talk to a wider demographic that might relate the fact, I don't know, shit.
Okay, no, but you have the star ingredients and then obviously the supporting.
Yeah.
part.
And which particularly relates to when you're talking relieving discomforts in the moment. You have symptom relief, symptom discomforts. You have acute, somebody's getting sick, getting better, where, come on, we gotta fix it. And then over time, it's a little different than symptoms. And then the deeper thing is chronic, underneath, ongoing. How do you get to that? And the beauty is that herbs work with all of those, but symptom relief or discomfort resolution, that's about how much you take within a narrow amount of time. Just trying to let you know here quickly. If you're trying to get better faster, when you're doing something more in the acute world, that's about frequency. Push it. If you're working with deep stuck things over time, that's about consistency, growing in improved functionality, sort of like eating well. You grow it in, and that has a lot to offer that is not available in other ways. So back to, you asked about the kick-ass allergy. The defining herb is yerba santa. And, oh my God,
where is it from? What is it?
Well, there's different versions. Aerodictium angustifolia grows in the piñons in northern Arizona. We have Aerodictium california, which is Californica, which is in north of the Bay Area and on up into southern Oregon. And there's even some down in LA, another species down there. But the beauty of yerba santa, herb of the saintly herbs, is that it is an incredibly effective antihistamine as well as antimicrobial. It's also really good for going after viruses and bugs of this kind, which I probably won't go down that route right this minute. But the beauty of it is that it's relatively body friendly, it's non-sedative, it's non-stimulating, and oh boy, it goes right after the allergy symptoms. And that is the main herb. And then you've got nettles, which people are aware of as being helpful with allergies. And I'm mostly talking pollen allergies, but this also applies to pet allergies and other kinds as well. And surprisingly, I was surprised to find out even certain food allergies, it can be helpful. So you've got nettles, that's one of those supportive herbs, and also echinacea, which people are going to think is addressing the immune side of things. But what people don't know is there's another side, like we were talking about, plants have different sides to them. Echinacea angustifolia that grows, that's native to the prairies, one of its historic native names was snakeroot. And that's because if somebody gets bit by a certain kind of snake where the venom moves through histamine attack through the tissues, you pull up echinacea root and you eat a bunch right away because it has an anti-hyaluronidic acid side to it. It's sort of like slowing it down so it can't move, like a tourniquet to keep the snake bite from moving on.
And guys, this is all in one product. And I think the key thing is because it's family run, it's woman founded. This is the founder right here. This is why we love this brand at the magazine, because there's zero sacrifice in the quality, in their sourcing. If something isn't the right source, they just don't make the product. So it's one of the fascinating things is that this hasn't been taken on by like a private equity group or a major corporation. We're like, we're gonna water it down. We're gonna make this into a functional soda instead.
Well, I was on the board of Naturally Boulder, one of the first natural products trade groups, and I saw what happened to my friends with other companies where they thought they had this agreement, taking on venture capital money and this and that, and they would lose their values and their mission.
And that's not happening here.
And so we were like the tortoise and the hare. But conscious business and triple bottom line business, I think, is really important, and it's part of, I would even say it's the next phase of our movement, you all.
When you say triple bottom line business, I know what it is, but will you explain that, please? Because I think it's so fascinating.
It means you care about, like, I'm not going to use the definition that the business school would use, but it's where you care about more than just profit. And you care about your people. You care about keeping your mission and your value. You care about your sourcing. And you care about all the levels. And that could help change the world, help us save the world, because businesses have so much talent and they can do so much. So if that's put together with these other, I don't even know what adjectives to use, it could be part of the answer. But
they're also, would you say, they're all non-negotiables? There's not one that you're like, okay, we can forget about that one this time. Like, they're all equally important to you.
Yeah.
And probably,
you're keeping your mission, and within the natural channel with natural beyond supplements, just the whole natural thing. That's kind of where it's going. And they're starting to call it conscious business, and you're going to start to see that. And I could go on about that, but I probably shouldn't. But that matters on one side.
It's getting rarer and rarer.
Yeah.
And so this independence is really important for you. And I mean, this maybe is a question for Anna, because you're the next generation. It's like, are you ready, you and your brother, to really take the charge and
Oh, they're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I know you are, but
Yeah, I mean, we've always been doing it the right way, but we just sort of thought that was natural and how you would run a business, until we started to realize, oh no, we really have something kind of special that we're doing here that we want to honor and keep bringing forward. You know, we just got B Corp recently, just to kind of make it official. No, and we also just recently brought Fair Wild, which is a great certification that shows that anytime we collect plants from the wild, that we are making sure it's sustainably done and we're paying people correctly. And so we're just sort of taking her mission and you know, making sure it's in the code of WishGarden for generations to come. So yeah.
And you guys have that secret Rolodex.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, they wouldn't show me labels.
Well, we have relationships with a lot of these sourcing partners that have gone generations, you know.
And they don't want to be known for what they're doing. They want it to be secret too.
Well, you know, and some of these plants are very expensive, and they don't want someone to come to their property
Exactly.
and dig up their ginseng or something of that nature. So you do actually have to be a bit careful about it.
Well, you're respecting your sources.
Yeah.
But they're part of your family too.
What?
They're part of your family too.
Yeah.
Because you've gone to these farms, you've gone to these sources, you do all the development. It's really like a vertical company, except for the growing inside of the
Well,
business.
that's where I'm headed.
And that's where you're headed now.
The oil is working on different sides of the skin. It has arnica, which you mostly probably are familiar with as a homeopathic. And it is external, and it is healing to the musculoskeletal area. So you're familiar with that. We actually have, I think, 4 different formulas for stress that come at it from different sides. The serious relaxer is about, like, if you know, like, and you're like, oh, okay. And so it has a tension quality to it. Also has wood betony in there, which is really not only a relaxing herb on a muscular level to some degree, but it has a really nice effect on the brain, sort of like a Maxfield Parrish painting. If anybody's familiar with that, might be pastel and like,
And how do you take it?
well, you can take it symptomatically, which you take a good dose. Wait 5 minutes. Are you feeling, by the way, these are pump tops, and if you're used to tinctures in droppers, a good dose would be 6 to 8 pumps with these pumps. And
In water or in your mouth?
do it if you're new to it and haven't tasted it before, put in a little bit of water, but if you're okay with the taste, you can just go like this. Don't go like that, it'll tickle.
Especially with the serious relaxers, got the valerian in there.
Oh, yeah.
Strong.
And so you take
That actually is good.
ours do taste much better than your traditional eclectic style. And there's a story about that.
It's working.
So you take a good strong dose, you wait about 5 minutes. Are you where you want to be? If you're not there, you take it again.
Good.
You can take it again. It has to do with body weight, typically more herbs. However, constitution can go against that. You can have a big man who's sensitive to herbs and a tiny woman who's dense to herbs. And then what cuts across that are how intense are your symptoms that you're working with. And so by doing that, taking a dose, waiting, okay, where am I? Taking another one. And we can't say it on the label because of the FDA, but you can do that up to 4 times in a row. And this is what I learned from Michael Moore, actually, way back when. And then you can figure out what your body needs to do what you need in the moment. And the reason you do it symptomatic or discomfort relief is because we're talking body-friendly herbs that are natural, and they're going to break apart. So if you don't take enough for what you need, if you don't take more soon, you're not going to get the results. So you can play with it to see, like, I'm allergic to grass pollen. Early season doesn't take much. I'm standing next to a hayfield. I was like, oh, I got to dose up. So
you said 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's start the Q&A. And I'll tell you how I feel in 3.5 minutes, right? Right?
Yeah, and I mean, that the allergy people.
It is fast acting.
Yeah, and people didn't know the herbs could do that. In a number of these different ones, and we tag them appropriately, But the serious relaxer can also be an acute thing where you would take it at a more frequent time because you're having a really stressful week.
Oh,
And you
not
want...
here.
Oh, that never happens, does
No,
it?
not here.
Finals, something like that. And it also has anti-inflammatory aspects to it, so it can work on a deeper level as well. It's not, we do have another formula called Deep Recovery that's very much focused on, recovery, as you might know, is now the word for anti-inflammatory because we can't say anti-inflammatory.
Oh, okay.
Because of the FDA. Which I don't know if I should say out loud.
Oh, no. But it's great. It's great for like a post-hike, post-workout, right? Something like that.
Yeah. The deep recovery, that would be a whole other subject. The serious relaxer.
2 minutes, I'll tell you.
What?
I'll tell you in 2 minutes.
Okay.
I need more. This is the first brand ever to be invited to be at Rancho La Puerta in its entire history.
Really? Wow.
So as with a founder story, because they're like, we don't promote products. If you notice, it's all Rancho, so kind of a big deal.
Wow.
So that's what I talk about, like the legacy of the purity. Really, just this mission is very much aligned, and I see a lot of Deborah and Catherine, sort of what they do. I just want you to know, I do feel really.
How are you feeling? He's good. Oh.
It's not like CBD where you're like, it's too much. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's meant to be like that. And by the way, CBD
I like my spa portion of food. It's pretty good. I've never tried this one.
Oh, you haven't? I thought
No.
you had. Was okay.
I got arnica on. I got that. It's good.
Oh.
Having a good time.
I will mention CBD is one of those phytopharmaceuticals I'm talking about because you take those and you put them together like that. So there's a story. Can I tell a little story?
Yeah, I'm relaxed.
So here we are. We started with midwifery, and it was mail order, and it was practitioners, and kind of word of mouth around the country. The Amish community discovered us, and that was interesting. They wanted the Jewish people, the
Welcome room was the big one.
The what? What? Yeah. There were different communities that discovered them and would talk and recommend them, and it was a lot of word of mouth, and people and women that had used them during their childbearing things, they would call up and say, "Oh, could you do something for my husband? Could you do something for my kid?" And some of them came from our own family and experiences. A lot of the formulas came from real life situations. So we're going along, and we were late to the shelves. We were an herbal renaissance company. Like, we actually started the same time as Herb Farm, but we were late to the shelves. We didn't get to the shelves starting in Colorado with Whole Foods and Vitamin Cottage until, the early 2000s, something like that. Order from the Lamar store that was being built in Austin, Texas by Whole Foods, their big preview whatever store, and they were going to give us a shelf space like this, and I was like, what? And nobody's ever heard of us down there. Like, what do we do? And so I think it was like 2004 or 6, somewhere in there. And so I go down there with this other gal that was working with us, and all excited, and they had a trade show to kind of get this going, and walked into the department of the other store that they hadn't moved into the big fancy one yet, and walk in all excited, and we're WishGarden, and the department manager, she comes forward with her pen, she says, "Tinctures? Do you think I need any more tinctures?" "No, I don't. I just discontinued $3,000 worth of them." And I go, oh, I didn't know what to say. And all I could think of to say was, well, I think if you tried us, you'd like us. And long story short, I did win her over. over time. But the reason that I brought it forward is it made me stop and think, okay, what is it about what we're doing that is distinctive and worthwhile? From a merchandising point of view, it needs to be kick-ass. Well, where did that come from? There's a story to that too. And that time putting something like that on the shelf, would that work? Oh yeah, it did. It helped it sell off the front end to a much wider demographic. And color and fun, you know, it is products. You have to put it on the shelf, but it also has to work.
Oh yeah, it does.
And coming from what I was talking about before, working with such vulnerable populations, and it has to work, this whole, bringing forward this whole idea of symptom relief. Nobody was doing that with herbs. And that's where I realized, you know, and I don't mean to go on, but where we started to, okay, here's what we're bringing, ours tastes better. And there's a story about that. In Whole Foods in Boulder, Colorado, they started putting our, well, at that time we had a formula called Love Potion number 9 to put up on the shelf for Halloween, but it tasted terrible. So, okay, how can we keep the efficacy, you makes you smile, and make it as strong or stronger, but bring the alcohol level down? The reason
is that what that is?
The reason, well, plus the taste of the different herbs, but how you get,
chug this,
how you get the non-water soluble constituents into your solution is the OH bonding site that alcohol has. It will go in and grab the polarities different. It will pull out those more complicated, deeper, and this is a little simplistic, but they tend to be the more, for more serious kinds of things that they can work with, the more complicated, deeper kinds of molecules and constituents. It'll pull those out too. I mean, who wants a bunch of alcohol in it? Well, maybe some people.
Whoa.
But taste-wise, that makes them. So we figured out. I looked at. I have a degree in science from the beginning, so I kind of have both sides, the left and right brain, and it turns out I have a talent for this sort of stuff. And figured out, okay, how can we do the extraction, have less alcohol in the finished product, but to have them be just as strong or stronger. And so we did that. That started with that formula that they were going to put on their end cap, and it tasted terrible. But that was our first one where we made it. So ours tastes better than most.
Well, you are number one now. And I will say, like Catherine, I just think it's incredible what you and your family have done. And everyone, when you get this tonight, I highly recommend doing 6 pumps in your mouth. You're gonna. It tastes great. I'm so relaxed right now. Really, like I feel a little tipsy actually. It's kind of nice. And then this, obviously, we've had a hard day. This is great, right, Erin? Mm-hmm. To rub on your feet.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Like a little foot massage before bed.
All over your body, but I guess we do have to conclude.
Yes.
So could we give a round of applause to Catherine?